Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to Apostolic Children's Ministry Podcast. This is a very different type of podcast where I actually have video with it, which is pretty cool. And I have someone that's never been on the podcast. In fact, I actually don't know you that well, but I hope to get to. This is Brother Pelletier. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And from Oklahoma City. And we actually got acquainted because we have a WhatsApp chat with children's ministers of the Apostolic movement, is what it's called. And it's just people across the United States that are passionate about children's ministry. And he connected with us, and he has been posting some exciting stuff in that chat. And I just love what I'm hearing. And brother, thank you for joining us. We'd love to pick your brain. You got some neat stuff going. And part of the excitement that got me so pumped up, it wasn't just the pictures and the neat decorations, but the results. I'm seeing that, kids are getting the Holy Ghost on a regular basis at your church. And I just love to find out. That's the goal. That's the goal. Is find out what all you got going on. So why don't you just kind of give us the 2 minutes of who you are, how you got into children's ministry, your background, etc. Just whatever you like people to know.
All right. So like you said, I'm James Pelletier, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Brother Pastor McDonald's Church at Apostolic Faith Tabernacle. And I have been involved in Sunday school since very shortly after I got into the church. I got in church. I wasn't raised in this. I got in as a teenager back in the mid-90s. Was really looking for God and found this truth, and it's just awesome. And it's been awesome ever since. So really about 6 months or so after I got the Holy Ghost, I was just playing around, goofing off with some of our youth group friends, and one of them was a teacher. So I picked up her teacher manual, and just started, being silly with the lesson, just as we were hanging out. She says, "You know what? You probably ought to jump into Sunday school with us and come see what it's about." So I'd never been to a Sunday school class ever. I did some Catholic CCD when I was a little kid, and then other than that, I hadn't experienced any of it. So I jumped into kids' church and was doing puppets and clowns and characters and stuff like that, and I haven't got out since. It's just been a blast to be involved in kids and helping kids and showing kids how to live for God. So, been doing that. We were in kids' church. My wife, at the time we were just dating, she was involved in bus ministry. She came in about the same time, exactly the same time I did. And she got involved in bus ministry. I did Sunday school, and then we both got up into Sunday school teaching classes. And since 2011, we've been leading the Sunday school department here. So just incredible fun, and you get to work with. You said it this week on your podcast, the best teams ever, children's workers. So I love our teacher teams that we have here, and bus ministry teams that we have here, and they're just amazing. The burden and the love and everything that we do.
I love to hear you say that. I think everybody should feel that way about your local team. It should be people that you genuinely like, that you like to hang out with, that you like to talk to. Like something goofy happened this morning, just a funny, oops text through a voice text that went awry. And that's where I posted it, because I think they're the kind that appreciate it. They're just great people. I like to hang out with them, and I love that you feel the same way about yours. That's so healthy. So you posted some really neat stuff, but some fun stuff. I like the fact that you don't take yourself seriously, in the sense that you posted some of like the kids duct taping you to a wall.
Oh yeah.
Which is so cool. So I'd love to hear the background on that picture. And now, unfortunately, it sounds like you got our teachers wanting to duct tape me to a wall. So I'd like to not thank you for that at all. but give me some background on that. That's great.
So that's one of and we stole this years and years ago from, I think, Brother Betts, and we call it Little Things Big. And so every week, and you guys do something similar, I'm sure, but every week we take something small and we just make it kind of a big deal for the week. Like in December, we're going to have Goofy Glove Sunday. So everybody's going to wear their winter gloves, and they'll be decorated up all goofy and crazy. Our favorite ones are like silly socks and that silly hat, or your popcorn thing on the bus recently. That is something that's going to make its way to our Little Things Big. And one of ours was this duct taping to the wall. And I don't remember what they had to do because it was years ago, but they did whatever it was we were supposed to do. And they duct taped me. And I guess we used that door right there, our Sunday school office door. And I'm sure we made sure that room was empty first, but they got me up on a chair and they used a lot of duct tape and held me right up there. And it was just one of our Little Things Big, just something to pump up Sunday school every week to make it exciting.
I love that. I've heard Brother Dwayne Uzzle from Union City, Tennessee. He says that all the time. Make little things big. You don't have to spend a lot of money to have a neat memory, a neat draw for kids to come. So you just mentioned a few there. You said the goofy socks, I believe, goofy gloves, and there was a hat. Is that the other one you mentioned?
Yeah, that's one of our favorite ones to do every year. Silly
We've not done that, and I love that idea. Why don't you kind of expand on that a little bit? I think that's great.
You got a whole wall of them there behind you, it looks like.
I do have my share. Yeah, I'm actually surrounded. I've probably got 30 of them around me right now.
And that's it. Just that on when it's Crazy Hat Sunday, all the kids, all the teachers, everybody wears crazy hats to Sunday school. And, we usually will do a little prize. Sometimes it's just in each classroom we'll have a winner. And sometimes it's, if we're all in kids' church or something, we'll pick a winner. But the craziest hat gets something, whether it's a candy bar or extra turn on the game that we're playing or whatever it might be. But yeah, and the kids make up some crazy stuff. Like you can tell they get in their mom's craft closet and start pulling out googly eyes and all kinds of stuff.
That's so cool. Was there any sort of maybe the first time you did it, were the kids a little hesitant about diving in to that? Or was it the first time you did it, they jumped on board? Because we found sometimes, we've never tried this particular thing, that it takes a couple times of doing stuff before the kids kind of get the vision of, oh, I can do this and still be cool, or I can get involved and have a good time. Yeah. Did you experience that?
So I think for the most part, that we really jumped into it, but I think the key was, knowing that their teachers are going to do it too. And then we've just got some great people. And I think, they did go to their mom's closets and get stuff out, and mama helped. And, it became like a family. Hey, let's see how goofy we can get yours this week. That kind of thing.
Yeah. That's like the weekly challenge at our church. The idea that we started with was connecting with them from Monday to Saturday, not just on Sundays. How do we do that? And we still haven't cracked the code completely, but we started putting out a weekly challenge where the kids do something that is leading into the next Sunday between Monday to Saturday. And sometimes it'll be draw a picture of a certain thing, or go witness to a neighbor, or something. And if you complete the challenge, you get a prize, but you also get pulled up on stage in front of all of your peers, and it's a big deal. They feel like a big stuff. The reason I brought that up is the first time we did it, we had no one wanted to do it. I mean, they just didn't want to do it. Second week, when we finally had one do it, it broke the ice, and everybody wanted to be that person. They wanted to be the one getting the prize for being up on stage. And now it's a culture thing. Like everybody knows when we do weekly challenge. Like I had a kid today, literally from our Christian school. I walked by and they said, "What's our weekly challenge this week?" Because it's just part of the culture of being a Sunday school kid in our church. So that's why I asked. I didn't know if it was something you had to break the ice before they would accept it.
We've been doing it so long now. And that's something that I think is kind of cool about this particular aspect of what we do, this Little Things Big, is we've been doing it so long. I don't remember when we exactly started it. It's like it's that part of our culture now. And sometimes they're not as exciting, and other times they're just top of the world. Great. Everybody's involved. Everybody's doing it. So, I mean, we just had our youth class, 12 and 13-year-olds, on Backwards Sunday, and every single one of them wore something backwards or had something backwards. And, you had 13-year-olds that it's hard to impress those ones sometimes. They're kind of too cool for Sunday school. And they got all into it. It was great.
If you can get the youth into it, you know you've done something. That's saying something. So do you have any more? I have a goofy hat, gloves, socks, backward Sunday. I love these. Any more that you guys do? I'm stealing these, by the way, so don't say them if you don't want us to try them.
We've got one of the things that we love to do too, and winter's coming, so it's on my mind, is Snowball Sunday.
Ooh, what's that?
We have a tub. I don't know where they came from, but we've got a tub of fake snowballs. They're just cotton balls, huge cotton balls. And we dump them all in our kids' chapel room or in one of the rooms up here, or divide them up. And as soon as those kids are coming up the stairs for Sunday school, we're loaded up as teachers and we're pelting them with these things. And then we just have a good time of pelting each other with snowballs, and Snowball Sundays become a great one. It doesn't matter what the weather is outside. I might even do it next summer just to mix things up. But
that's cool.
Snowball fight in July. That sounds like a blast to me. So
that is, I love stuff like this. Any others? We're gonna hopefully be stealing, like I said, all of these if we can over time.
I mean, we go through some of the candy sometimes. Skittles Sunday, candy corn Sunday, Thankful Sunday, Testimony Sunday. Oh man,
What's Testimony Sunday?
Pretty much where you have kids just testify, just in kids' church. We'll share what God's done for us. Just pretty much, you can put the word Sunday at the end of anything and have a Sunday for it.
I love it. That is way cool.
We try to post them on our Instagram and Facebook pages, and of course in our church family pages and stuff like that, so that people know what's coming. But
yes, sir. Do you use something like that every Sunday?
Every Sunday, yes. We try to have something. And some are bigger than others, some are more exciting than others, but every week we try to do something special. That's
cool. And are you promoting this both to the bus riders? Do you guys run buses, by the way?
Yeah. We've got 15 passenger vans that we run out every week.
Awesome.
And we promote it to all of them. So when they go on visitation, we have a little flyer that has the whole month on there, what we're doing for Little Things Big. And we try to send that home with every kid every week as well.
Okay, break that down for me. So on the flyer is the entire month schedule, you said?
Yeah, just it just has the date and like a little, if it's Candy Corn Sunday, it has a picture of candy corn next to it, or Silly Socks will have a picture of socks and stuff like that, where we just say cool. This date, this time, silly sock, silly hat, whatever it might be.
I love that. Is that something you could send, like a snapshot of just what that roughly looks like, and I could put a link to it in the bottom?
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be awesome. That's cool. I like that. Now, what type of breakdown do you have of classrooms and ages? I'm always interested. At our church, we have a lot of people ask us, what do you guys do as far as age group and like I said, breakdown of class ages? Do you do it by grade or whatever?
Yeah.
But ours is not dictated by what I recommend. Ours is dictated by just our facilities. We don't have a choice the way we do it. So I'm curious, what do you guys do?
Yeah, we've got toddler and pre-K are in a class together. And then we have, we've got nursery for until you're potty trained downstairs. And then, but for Sunday school, we've got toddler and pre-K together, kindergarten, first and second grade together, third and fourth grade together. Our what we call preteen class, it's about fifth and sixth grade together, and then our youth class, which is 12 and 13-year-olds. So most of them do go by their grades in school, but the older ones, they move when their birthday is. So we do a promotion Sunday. That's one of our Sundays for Little Things Big. It becomes a big things little, maybe. I don't know, but promotion Sunday where we promote them all to the next class. So we do that every year in May.
Got it. And so when they turn 14, are they no longer in one of your classrooms now? They're kind of handled by the youth department, or how do you guys do that?
Yeah, they move into the adult class. So on Sundays, we have a 1 p.m. service. And so really we kick off with kids' church right after pre-service prayer. So at 12:45, 12:45, 12:50, right around there. They come up for kids' church, where we all meet from the 3-year-old to the 13-year-old in our children's chapel, and we just have a loud 15 minutes or so of songs, memorization, fun, games, that kind of thing, and then we break up into our classes.
Okay,
And
so that first 15 minutes, is that more worship songs, action songs, or is it because you got a wide range of ages? How are you reaching all of them, or are you doing kind of what we do, shoot at the middle and hope for the best?
Yeah, we do. We put some things in each one for the upper and the lower. As far as the songs go, it's the traditional Sunday school songs is really what we're aiming for. A lot of the action songs.
Okay.
We'll throw some worship in there. But it's a lot of we didn't want to miss out. Sometimes in classes, if the teacher's not geared toward music, then sometimes it's easy for in the classroom setting for the songs to just kind of go by the wayside.
Sure.
And it's a smaller group, so you don't feel as safe maybe getting involved in that as a kid. And so we do that in our kids' church, and yeah, everybody can do Lord's Army. We love it.
I love it. That's fantastic. So after that 15 minutes, they break into classes, and then it's more of that. I really like that concept, because you are kind of getting the best of both worlds. In a children's church style setting, many times you lose that personal connection.
That's exactly right.
And in the personal class, sometimes you lose that group dynamic that you get so much out of.
Energy and atmosphere. Yeah,
absolutely. I like that. You guys have bridged that gap. That's really neat. It's a great idea. In fact, when we have different facilities, maybe we'll be able to pull off something like that. I love it. That's great. So go ahead.
In the kids' church too, we're also, like this year, we're all learning the books of the Bible. And we want to do it with a little twist. So we've seen it done, the books of the Bible, Thompson Chain style. And so we just kind of rebranded it, the books of the Bible AFT style. And so every one of our kids is learning the books of the Bible and their breakdown, like the Pentateuch, the first 5 books of the Bible: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. And then we'll move into history.
Oh, that's
12 books
cool.
That tell you the history of the nation of Israel, and go through those. And so that we really wanted to give them something that, we see them in church sometimes trying to figure out where stuff is. So hopefully at the end of the year, May, when we kick into next summer, they'll be able to just know it because they got it in their head and they know about where it is in their Bible. So
that is really cool. We did not break it down by Pentateuch and history and stuff. I love that. That is way cool. But we did the same thing as far as teaching them the books of the Bible, because it was almost shameful how bad kids were that had been raised in church on finding a book. I mean, they didn't have any concept of where it was in the Bible, and that was on us. I felt like we really missed something bad.
It's one of those things that it's so easy to look over, I think, because we take it for granted.
Yeah, we do.
Once you've been in church for a while, you kind of take all of that for granted, and it's kind of something that and so teaching it diligently to the kids is something we've got to be real mindful of, I guess. We got to keep it top of mind because we know it, and we think then they know it by osmosis or something.
That's something that I think a lot of people, us very much included, struggle with is you have both that kid that has never walked into church before, coming off your bus. They've never opened a Bible, likely, zero church background. And then you have a kid that's 10 years old, been raised in this, slept under a pew. They've been there, done that. And we're trying to connect with both of those at the same time. And you're trying to bridge that gap of not boring the church kids, but not talking over the head of that first timer as well. And so we're trying to walk that fine line. But what I was leading up to is sometimes with even church kids, there is a responsibility. And this is where I definitely want you to weigh in on this, on the parent as to do a job, teach them diligently unto thy children. And I know that's to us as Sunday school teachers, but there's also a responsibility to the parent.
Right.
And so we're just assuming that some of that's happening.
Absolutely.
Parents are doing things at home. You're not just letting them play video games the whole time and shoving them to us on Sundays and hoping that we're going to get them where they're supposed to be. But I have found that unfortunately that doesn't always happen. And
right.
So we do have to go back to basics many times. Like, this is the Bible. This is the Old Testament. This is the New Testament. It's how it's broken up. And this is how to find the book of Acts, because they don't know. And it's shameful, but it's true.
Yeah, absolutely. And life is busy, right? For every one of us.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not putting parents on blast here.
Oh, no, yeah.
Okay.
I get you. I totally get it. I've got, my kids are all teenagers now, but I guess two of them are in their 20s, but I'm getting old. But yeah, so I understand. Like, I totally understand it from both perspectives. I've been, and I'm the Sunday school leader, and how much of that do I do at home? So, I mean, it's absolutely, and I think the more we can give those weekly challenges, like what you're doing, or I've seen some start to do like weekly devotional type things, which is amazing. We have an annual Bible reading that we challenge all of our church. We have 2 of them now. We've done it for years, and then the last couple of years we've added one for kids and youth. So it's like a daily Bible reading where you kind of go through the Bible in a year. Now, for the kids, they're not necessarily going to read Genesis 1:1 all the way through Revelation 20, 21, 22, whatever it is. So we picked, a couple years ago, we just picked, I think it was like a chapter a day or something like that, Monday through Friday, put it on the calendar and made a little pamphlet and handed those out at the beginning of the year. And then the first year we did it, we actually challenged the kids. Any of the kids 12 and under that did it and brought their completed thing back to myself or to pastor, we gave them a $50 bill. Every kid that did it for the year. And so it was just a little thing to get the word into them every day of the week. And so we've kept that going now for a few years, and we just printed them up for 2024. Get them going again.
I love that.
And so we actually went from a chapter or so a day to shorter passages, because the first year was a little overwhelming for the younger ones. So, but we just did it kind of topically this last year, and it was 5 or 6 verses or passages. So it was pretty manageable.
Is that something you'd be willing to share as well? I'm not just trying to steal all your stuff, but this is great stuff. I love what you're doing. Yeah. So how are you not giving accountability on that, but is it something that I guess I've noticed that if we do a challenge, say at the beginning of the year, we're going to do this challenge, or if I don't bring it up all the time, kids forget that we ever did the challenge. So how are you keeping that fresh in their minds on a week-to-week basis?
We do. So we don't talk about it necessarily weekly, but every little while, of course, in January, just like all habits, New Year's, you have all these great energy around it. But then a few months down the road, it will wane a little bit. And so just personally, what I do is I'll set a reminder in my Gmail to pop back up, and then I just mention it to some, and I may not do it to everybody, but it may be mentioned, when I'm up there making some announcement about something else, just kind of a reminder. And I use my Gmail account a lot for those types of things, Google Tasks and stuff like that, to where I can set my reminder and then not necessarily have it on top of mind, but then 3 months down the road when it pops into my inbox, I'm like, oh yeah, I've got to bring that up.
I love that. And I am a definite Google fiend as well. I use their Google Docs and calendars and Gmail.
I used to just text myself reminders. And then I thought, there's got to be a better way. So I just, Google Tasks has been my thing for this whole year.
I love it. I've been using Trello quite a bit. It has a lot of plugins and neat stuff, but it's outside of the Google sphere, so it doesn't tie in well, but it's a pretty decent reminder.
I was using a different app and it didn't tie in well. So then I just, let me figure this out.
I love it. So, do you teach on a week basis, or are you just heading it all up?
Now I'm just heading it all up. I did teach for years, and I'll, just to be very, very transparent, the last month or so, I've been like itching to do more. And I don't know if it's just listening to, being in the group and seeing what everybody's doing. I'm like, you know what? It's been way too long since my kids here have seen Giraffe, and that's my puppet that he comes up, and he's a giraffe with a very short neck, and he messes up Bible stories. Every Bible story he reads has an animal in it, whether it did in the Bible or not.
Oh, and, I am loving this. Okay, yeah, tell us more. Tell us more. I love Giraffe already.
He is just he messes it all up. He did the creation one time. David and Goliath is David and the gorillas. and Goliath or the gorilla, his name was Kong, and he grabbed Saul, he grabbed Saul's daughter Michal and climbed a building, and David had to go and save Michal and get the woman, and then he did creation and went through all of that and just messes it all up. And then of course somebody's got to be there to put him straight and get
my goodness. So how are you, like, behind the curtain, or are you using him kind of as a ventriloquist style puppet, or how are you doing him?
Yeah. So usually I do use some kind of puppet stage or curtain or something like that. And I'm not anywhere near a ventriloquist, but I have found that I don't need a stage, because as long as you're moving Giraffe going, nobody is paying attention to my lips. And the ones that do say, well, that's you. Well, then, yeah, of course it's me. It's just, it's been fun. I love puppets. So yeah, Giraffe is coming back to kids' church near you.
I love that. So there's different people that I've seen do something very similar. Brother Jason Ashley just did a service for us back when we were in Tennessee, and he had I can't remember his character, but it was a kind of ventriloquist style, and he does pretty well, but you can tell it's him. Who cares? I mean, I know it's him, and within 30 seconds, I'm lost in it. I love it. I'm all in. Same with, you know who Carl Bastion is, the guy that does Kidology?
Yeah, Kidology, yes.
The guy's fabulous. I love his stuff. But he has his puppet Gus. And I thought, this guy's been doing this for 30 years. He's probably the world's greatest ventriloquist. And I am not downplaying his skills, okay?
Right.
But he's not that great. I mean, as far as his mouth, I can see it's clear that it's him. It doesn't matter. That's doesn't exactly matter. Right. But I have this weird...
That's where I got that from, actually.
Oh, did you?
Yep. Kidology.
I love it.
Forever I followed him. And
his podcast, you guys haven't heard them, you just got to listen to him. I'm telling you, every time I'm making notes, I'm like, this guy's amazing. I just wish he had the truth. It's just so sad.
Yeah, way back in 2000, my wife and I, we went to his Kidology University in Chicago. And it was great back then. And
it's top notch. Yeah. And so I have this weird self-conscious that if the kids can tell it's me, then it's not good enough. That's a joke. I've got to get over that. I mean, I've already I've wrote this down and said it a million times, but for me, the enemy of getting stuff done is because I think it has to be done perfect.
That's actually,
just get it done. Just get something done that's good is done. It's better than something that's perfect that never gets completed.
That's right. Yeah.
Like this podcast. I have a bad camera right now with you. And
that's why I haven't done a podcast yet. I want it perfect.
I'm in the same boat. I cannot be critical in the least, because I do it for everything. And I'm finally getting to the point where I just don't care. People, quality up to a point. I think there's a lot of diminishing returns. Like, if it's really bad, no one's going to watch it.
Right.
But once it's good enough, people don't care. They don't care if it's professional quality past a certain point. So it's just, I think you're wasting your time and money. And just get it done. And that's where I'm at. I don't know if you heard the most recent podcast we put out. And I wasn't trying to be like modeling on it, but I'm just like, I'm to the point in life that I have a list of things I want to get done before I die. and
Yep.
I've got to get them done. And I'm still think myself as a young man, but I've wasted too much time. We just got to get some of this stuff done where people can take it and run with it, especially our church.
So-
Like if we take ourselves out of this, will our Sunday school be as good as it is now? It better be better, I hope.
Yeah, one of the things that on that train of thought, one of the things how I actually found you and what you do is years and years and years and years ago now, I wanted to do a place. It's that frustration where you can't find stuff to object lessons and things like, just stories, object lessons, a lot like what Kidology is, but apostolic.
Yes,
And
sir.
so I was going to start one, and I went looking, and sure enough, I found apostolicsundaySchool.com.
Interesting. That's
And
wild.
so you had that, and I was like, oh, good, it's here, it's taken care of. And so I never did, like, you have a way where we can submit things to you, I think, on there.
Yes, sir. So when you go to the first page, there's a big red button, and you can upload videos and text or whatever.
And
We've
I
had a
have
few
yet to
people
do it.
use it. Well, I'd love for you to. I want to take. This is where I'm at with the whole Apostolic Sunday School thing. I want to make it a place that everyone can contribute, that no one really has ownership of it. Where I don't want them to think that I'm trying to take this, or I'm not. I just want it out there. I just want it in the public domain so churches can have access to it. And if that's why I've said several times, like if I can take it out of Apostolic Sunday School and make it, I don't know, I like a nameless, like where my name's not on it. I don't care, but I can contribute to it, and someone manages it, and we can just shove information to it, and they collate it and put it in the index. That's all I want.
And there's so much that happens out there that we don't know about,
Oh, it drives me nuts.
Oklahoma
Every
City.
church is so good.
Yeah. Shawnee, Oklahoma, Henrietta, Oklahoma. A lot of these places, they do amazing things, and nobody will ever hear about.
Yep.
Ever hear about it, and they just, I wish that we could somehow, some way, make it where everything is shareable, just like that. Like, and I wish it was easy. I wish it was a snap of a finger or the blink of an eye, and it's just not. But
yeah. Part of the impetus for me putting that submission thing on the website, and I had to spend some decent money on that Jot form subscription to make it where you could upload videos and stuff, to try to make it easy for people. The reason that came about is, like you said, there's all these churches you just named, and in our local area, there's churches that are just fabulous. And every Sunday, we were doing stuff that we were excited about, and every church does that. If all of these churches across the nation and beyond shared just one thing that they did really well that week, it doesn't have to be shared well. You don't have to even record it. You can record yourself talking about it after the fact and just post it into a public forum that everybody can say, oh, that's a great idea. I'm using that next Sunday. Just one piece. If we could get like 100 churches to commit every single Sunday, I'm going to share one thing that happened. And that was the impetus for our podcast, that weekly recap we do. If nothing else, if nobody else is getting stuff out of it, I can go back a year later and I can listen to my own podcast and say, that's what we did on that.
That is what I love about it too, is there's always something that I take out of it. I think, and I think the sister said a couple of weeks ago, she said they listen so they feel normal. Oh man. That's so right. I don't know of a perfect Sunday, but, oh man. Yeah. And then your curriculum announcement. I can't wait.
Oh, I am pumped about that. I'm excited. Yep. I am so excited. So, I'm glad that you share that same, I wouldn't call it frustration, but that desire for everybody to contribute your best into a pot that people can pull from. And again, I don't care who owns the pot, brother. If you would run the website, I will shovel stuff to you. I don't care. I just want it out there. And I just want to know that when that person, like God forbid, if I were to fall off the scene tomorrow, that I want it to live on. I don't want it to be dependent on me being here. So anyway, enough of that soapbox. but yeah, that's where I'm at. Yes, sir. Would you mind sharing about that kids revival, that kids service that you guys just had? and just kind
Kids
of the details
Crusade.
of how you make it happen. Annual, I suppose, is that a once a year thing?
Yes, sir. Yeah, and it started probably around 2009, 2010 with a back to school bash where we went out and just got a bunch of back to school supplies, wanted to do an outreach, get our routes fired up. And so we did a back to school bash. That's how we started it. We gave out a bunch of school supplies. We had the whole Sunday just geared towards kids, and Sunday we did Sunday school type deal in the sanctuary. And then afterward we went out, played on bouncies, ate sandwiches or whatever. I think we did like brown bag school lunch type thing that year, and gave out the school supplies and just had a good time. And then since then it's just clicked. Every year we've done something. Now we moved it because August in Oklahoma, 100, 110 degrees. It's too much out there on a bounce house.
Yes, sir.
So we moved it, and then each year we moved it to the first weekend in October, last of September, somewhere right around there. I've pretty much settled on the first weekend of October is our Kids Crusade.
Nice.
And that's a sacrifice because it's hunting, opening season for hunting. So I hear about it every year now, but yeah, so we just take a Sunday and it's all geared towards the kids, and it's a huge Sunday school effort, but it's a huge church effort. Everybody comes together, and it's just awesome to see the teamwork. It's historically been the number 1 or number 2 service attendance wise of the year, pretty much since then.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I think our record was somewhere over 500, 530 or something like that. But pretty much we run around 325 to 350 for the Kids Crusade week, and everybody gets behind it. I've got kind of my crew that leads up the kitchen, leads up the afterward the games, and the volunteers for who's going to man these bouncies to make sure everybody's safe. And we start planning that pretty early. Every year we say we're going to plan it early, and then, the later we get.
Do I know how that happens.
Oh, yeah. So again, Google Calendars, we put it on the calendar, and we're like, oh, yeah, we did not do that yet. So, but I usually pull about 3 or 4 or 5 Sunday school teachers to help me plan it, and we pick a theme, and then we build everything around the theme. So this year was the candy. We just had like a candy explosion up there. We decorate the foyer, we decorate the sanctuary, we decorate the fellowship hall.
By the way, I'm about to get interrupted. School's letting out, and I'm in my office. My kids are going to break in here, guaranteed, in the next 60 seconds. So
awesome.
I'm just going to let it roll. So I'm sorry. Go ahead. So no candy, worries. And they posted some pictures in there. In fact, my daughter's calling me right now. Yeah, I'll try to post those in the notes as well off the WhatsApp chat, unless you have some others that you'd like to share. So what does that format look like?
Yeah, so we start promoting it early. We have a contest, and then so on the day of, what we do is usually, again, service will start at 1:00. So at about 12:30, I don't really want the flood of kids getting here too early. So I say to our routes, you get them here starting at 12:30, and from 12:30 to 1 or 12:50, we'll have some games set up out back where they can just play different games based on the themes. So like when it was the underwater theme, we had like the duck pond type of thing with the kiddie pool, and you pick up the duck, get a prize. Games like that. We had underwater last year, and so it was really fun with those pre-games because we had a walk the plank type
That's so
of deal.
Funny. We did underwater last year for ours.
Really?
We really did.
Whoa. But you didn't do candy this year, huh?
We did not. No, ours is in February. So it's coming up. We might. Cool. We just steal your ideas every year. We're after you.
So, yeah, we have those little stations out back where we play the games beforehand. And then, when the lights come on after pre-service prayer, we'll open up the sanctuary for the kids to come in. Usually we'll have music going. Then we
there's the knock. There's the knock. They're here. It says I'm on a podcast. I'll come out in just a minute, okay? I knew it was coming. It's awesome. 3:00. School let out. I'm sorry, brother. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, you're good. And then, so we kick off with a countdown about somewhere between 5 and 2 minutes before time to 1 o'clock. We start the countdown, get all the kids going and counting down with us. And then we kick it off with some kind of song or puppet song or whatever. We do our tithe and offering, and then we just turn it loose to have a good Holy Ghost time. And we'll try to work in puppets or characters. Usually we'll have some kind of goofy character to tie in with the theme. We've had, like the underwater, we had a fish, just a giant fish. We found one of those big fish pillows from like Bass Pro Shops and cut it out to where one of the young people could wear it. And so they were a big fish through the whole thing. Or we did a space theme, so we had an alien costume.
That is so funny. We did space 2 years ago. What on earth? We're not stalking you guys, I promise. We really did.
It was just a few years ago. It was it was out of this world is what we called it.
I love it.
And we'll have a character, and then we have, church and have fun. And then afterward, we go out and play again on the bouncies and eat. And we'll try to, theme the food if we can. This year we went with burgers and hot dogs. Because we couldn't just eat candy out there. We thought about having a big, long candy bar. But, yeah, so.
That is really cool. We do the same thing, and I love that you do it with the whole church, in front of the church. I think that's a great opportunity that some people miss. They'll have a children's weekend or a children's revival, and sometimes it's still on the back burner a little bit, maybe in a separate area or a separate class. And so the church doesn't get to see the kids being the focus. And I think they're a church that experiences it once genuinely loves it. It's very rare for the elders of our church after one of those children's weekends that we do, just to not say, I had so much fun today. I really enjoyed that.
Everybody's there and everybody's involved in it. Like, it is not just Sunday school teachers praying or just Sunday school teachers putting it together. We're all just doing it together, and it's been awesome. It's been amazing.
I love it.
As a matter of fact, this year, one person who's always been kind of leading one area of it for me, I just scaled that area back so he wasn't doing that. And he was like, hey, what can I do? You need me to do a puppet then? What can I do? Because I need to do something. And that's just the way Kids Crusade is for us. It's our big event. It's our big thing. We love it.
That's so cool. We used to do ours in the first week of November. Here it's not. We don't have harsh winters, so that timing was fine, except that it's just a real busy time of year for us. So October 31st, we have a big Harvest Fest. And it's a big enough focus where it just overwhelms the church. Like the setup takes months. I mean, not the setup part, but the preparation and getting recruits and volunteers and staffing, and then putting it all away takes a week after. And then immediately after, we had our Kids Crusade, and it was like, oh my word, we're going to kill ourselves. So we bumped it. We literally looked at the calendar. And what is the deadest time of the year? Because as you know, summers are bonkers. Like when kids get out of school with all the camps and everything, it's just, it's horrible. So we did it in February. So we're doing ours every year in February, which is if there's a dead time in an apostolic church, which there's not, but the more dead time, that's when we moved it so we could give it its full concentration. And I love how human you are, brother. Like you said, you make up your mind that next year we're not going to get caught off guard. We're going to be preemptive, brother. I have told myself that for years, and every year it still sneaks up on me. I don't care how many reminders I set. I don't care how many notes I write. It doesn't matter. Every year it's like, oh, it's 3 days from now. My hair's on fire and I'm running around like a maniac.
That's right.
That's part of it.
Google Tasks, man. That's what has saved me this year for sure.
Google Task is more of an element of guilt, of just it smacks me with guilt.
I'm glad there's not a tracker on how many times you move the date back, because that's what I do. I just did it a minute ago.
I love it. Just keep bumping it. Just keep hitting that snooze button.
Yeah, that's going to come back up Monday. I'll get to it then. I promise.
I love it. It makes me so happy to see people that are doing what you're doing and are successful at it and having a happening church, and to see that there's a human side to it. It really does. It makes everybody listening to this podcast know that There's life's life. You still get busy.
We're all in it together.
All in it together. I love that. Yes, sir. So roughly how many kids do you have on an average Sunday that you're dealing with on that? I guess, just in total, I guess.
Yeah, an average Sunday. We were running 40-ish, and then it's bumped up to 60, and then since our Kids Crusade, we've actually been in the upper 70s to 90s.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
It's really good. Really, really good to see that growth. And I'm the church nerd. I keep track of the attendance, so it's something that I look at all the time, and it just, it's not about the numbers, but it is. Those numbers represent souls that we. That's
right. Well, here's my son walking in. We're doing a podcast, bud. Just give me a few minutes. We're almost done. We're going on outreach right now. We're going on bus outreach as soon as we're done here. So
that's how you guys and you do that with I guess some of the young folks, right? Young people.
Yeah. So the usually it's my own kids, and then my niece and nephew, or not my niece and nephew, my two nephews, sometimes my nieces, that all attend the Christian school here. And if they're able to come on Saturday, we'll go on outreach on Saturday. But just to give them a second option, because sometimes Saturdays are busy, we'll meet on right after school on Wednesday or Thursday, and we'll go out. So I was supposed to do it yesterday, and anyway, life happened. We had a dentist appointment, and it got bumped. So anyway, part of it.
Yeah, that's awesome though. Midweek type outreach is really good, because I think that's what route ministry is really like. That to me is the key. Number one, route ministry is the key. Number two, if you're going to have a good route ministry, you gotta visit them. You gotta connect with them, and you guys seem to do just an awesome job of that. And it is always a challenge. So finding those other times other than just Saturday is really something that I've taken away from listening to you guys too.
Well, really it's. I've been really harping on outreach with our team, and then I'm gone on weekend. So what am I going to do? I can't be that hypocrite that's like, you go on outreach and then I don't show. So I did it for myself, kind of a selfish motive more than anything. I was like, if I'm not going on a Saturday, I am going to find somewhere else in the week that I still go. And so I can't tell these kids to do something I don't. So you have volunteers, both for the children's church and then when you break out into classes. Roughly how many volunteers, or I don't know, do you have a ratio you shoot for kids to adults, or is it just what you have?
So each class has 2, and we actually rotate. This year we did each quarter. So first and third quarter, we had a set of teachers. Second and fourth quarter, we had another set of teachers. So they would rotate. So if we had 6 classes, it's 12 per quarter, and then 2 in kids church. We just kicked kids church off in September. We kicked that back off because we were missing it for a while. And so yeah, about 14 volunteers a week for that, 2 on each of the vans that we have. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what we run.
So that's an interesting question that I get asked occasionally, and that we had come up in our church as well, is rotating teachers. How often do you do that? Do you do that? I remember, and I'm walking on some careful ground here, so I'm being purposely coy. There was a time when I was a teacher and I loved it. I'm telling you, I was obsessed by it. Well, then we had someone tell us, we're rotating you out for 6 months and someone else is taking your spot. Bro, it was like getting slapped. I'm like, You're what? Yeah, we're going to have other people. I'm like, what did I do wrong? I really felt like I messed up.
That's such a good, yes, sir.
And so,
good point.
Well, to me at the time, I remember just like getting, cold water dumped on me and going, and I wasn't tattling to Pastor. Okay. But Pastor just happened to be my dad. And I was like, hey, I'm not the only one feeling this way. I just, like, maybe we should talk about this before we just, kick people out that are really excited about it. And for that particular group, now there were some that were super excited. They're like, yes, finally I get to get out of here.
I want a break.
Exactly. And so I that's why I'm saying I'm trying to walk that fine line of some people need it, some people don't want it.
Right.
How do you deal with that? I'm curious.
Here's what we did. So we were basically full-time all the time for a long time, like years. That's how we did it. And then we get to thinking about that, and we have adult breakout classes sometimes during our Sunday school time, and our teachers would miss that. So they couldn't go to the marriage class or the financial class or the whatever class was going on, the end times class. And so we wanted to solve that. And so our solution was rotating. And then what you just said exactly, we've got some just amazing people, and they didn't want a break. They didn't need a break, but we gave them a break, and they felt the exact same way. And so what we've done, so 2024, here's what we're doing now for this next year. I asked our teachers individually, confidentially, what do you prefer? Do you prefer a break? Do you prefer to go to the classes, or do you just want me to let you teach? And so I've got 3 or 4 of them that in 2024 are going to be year round. They're going to be with their class. And the rest of them we will break up. And next year we're going to do 6 on, 6 off. So we'll do the first half of the year, Q1 and 2 with one set, and Q2 and 4 with the other set. And then that breaks up kind of our quarters, because, the summer quarter, super hard, vacations, camps, those kinds of things. And then the fourth quarter is the same way. So that's why we did it first and second quarter, third and fourth quarter.
That's
so
interesting.
That those more challenging times are split up between the two of them.
I like that, going to the teachers and letting them give their feedback. I think that's great. I think part of it does depend on, first, a couple things I want to walk carefully here for sure, is your pastor has the ultimate final say.
Absolutely.
So if pastor says that's what we're doing, that's what we're doing. But that decision at that time hadn't come from him. That was just someone that was trying to help people. And I get it. It was all well-meaning. Nobody was out to get anybody. Okay.
Absolutely.
So with that caveat said, I think that there is a time and place for that. And our setup of our services is different. We kind of have an old style service setup where we have a 10 to 11 Sunday school and then an 11 to 12 worship. And so if you teach, doesn't necessarily mean you miss anything, except there is an adult session going on at the same time. So that conflict that you mentioned is just something, it's a dynamic we don't have. And so I think every church has to make their own. Yeah, you just gotta walk with very carefully, and we just do the best we can. That's all we can do.
Yeah, and there really isn't like a right or wrong.
Yep.
Yes, sir. There's not a Acts chapter 5 says you got to have Sunday school this way. It's not. It's just not in the book. So
I love you saying that. That makes me so happy. I actually have done some training deals at some different churches, and I started off by saying, I want you to know what I'm saying is not the only way to do stuff.
That's right.
I try to make that so clear, because it kind of drives me nuts when people come in with that, our way is the only way.
Yes.
If you don't do it this way, you're missing out on things. And I was listening to a podcast of people that had really good information. They really did. They weren't apostolic, but it was a children's ministry podcast. It was just kind of the whole attitude of, pay us $24.99 and be like us sort of thing. And you can buy our package and one day you can become great like we are. It turned me off so hard from these people. I'm like, man, there are so many ways to do the exact same thing. And I go to different churches and they are having effective Sunday school and they're not doing it our way, but it's still working well. And so I love the way you temper that with, there are so many ways to do the same thing. In fact, the older I get, the more gray I see in the methods of teaching, not the message, not what we're teaching, but in the methods. There are so many different ways. So I love that. That's so good. Brother, you have been, what a blessing. 54 minutes in, and I feel like we could go another hour. In fact, I'd love to do this again. I think
we could talk forever.
I've so enjoyed getting to know you and learning more about your Sunday school. And I hope this won't be the last time we get to pick your brain.
Absolutely. Thank you for all that you've been doing, man. It's amazing. It's great. Thank you.
It's all selfish motivation. I want your information. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Well,
No.
we want yours, so we'll keep listening.
Oh, I love it. There's so much out there, and I think there's a deficit of apostolic content out there, and we just can't get enough of it. We just got to keep producing it until we can catch up. And anyway, I'm excited. God bless you, brother. Thank you again
Amen.
for coming on. And
Thank you.
so this will probably be out next week in the place of our typical podcast, or maybe parallel it or something. I might put it out sooner. I might put it out in between. I'm not sure. But again, thank you again. Appreciate you so much coming on.
I've rung the bell, so I'll get the notification when it comes out.
You're awesome. All right, brother. Well, God bless, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
We'll see you later.
Bye.